Hey everyone, it's Sidharth Kumar from ReviewMagic once again, and today we're gonna review A Taxi Driver. This is a movie that's available on Prime, and I was surfing last night about which of the movies that I should be watching. This came to my attention because maybe I may have seen some similar Korean movies in the past. So Prime recommended me this movie, and I thought, all right, I can look at the plot and see if I want to check it out. So the movie Taxi Driver stars Kang-ho Song in the lead. You have Thomas Kretschmann, and the movie has been directed by Hun Jang. The movie has been written by Yuna So the plot of the movie is this is a story of Kim that's played by Kang Ho Song, and he's a taxi driver. That's his profession. He is a widow. He has a young 11-year-old daughter. This is a time set in the 1980s, and he gets in touch with this German reporter, Peter, that's played by Thomas Kretschmann. And in the 1980s, in Gwangju, in southern part of Korea, there is a uprising happening. Military coup happens. The president has been assassinated, and foreign media is not allowed to cover the incidents, including the local media. And how the Peter takes Kim's cab to go to Gwangju from Seoul, and he has to cover all these incidents. So he's got his camera with him. He has to report everything and come back for the world to know what really is going on. So this is the story of how the bonding happens between the taxi driver Kim and Peter, and how does it unfold a series of events as they spend close to 2 days together, and what does that really mean for the world? So when you start watching the movie, it's set in the 1980s, so they're going to show you the whole highways where old taxis are driving, and Kim is very cheerful, he's bubbly, he's listening to some music, and at the same time he is struggling in life. He's not able to make enough money to pay 4 months of rent. His young daughter has got into an argument or fight with the landlord's son, and the landlord is really furious with Kim and his daughter. And, she gives him a hard time because he hasn't been able to give the money. So he's looking to get some loan. He's trying to make ends meet. As a father, he's trying to do everything he can do for his mother, because for his daughter, because the mother is no longer around. So you don't see that initial part. You don't see the real emotions of Kim very early on. But in the same era, Korean military forces have started to take position in the Gwangju area. There are university students that are getting killed, they're getting beaten by the army men, they're getting arrested, and the whole region is in chaos. This is around the May time. So they immediately they show that few journalists in Japan, they're kind of meeting together, journalists from Great Britain, from Germany. Peter is from Germany, and he wants to cover the incident. So he decides that he wants to go. He travels from Tokyo to Seoul, and when he goes to Seoul, he has a friend over there, and he tries to get access to a local cab. Now, when Kim is having lunch with one of his friends, he overhears a conversation that there is a reporter, who wants to go to Gwangju, and this reporter is willing to pay as much as 100,000 won, back in those days, which is a lot of money. So he immediately leaves and he gets Peter, and they all are set to Gwangju. So initially, it's a little difficult for them to communicate because Peter is speaking English. He's trying to understand, but Kim, he speaks more of Korean, 80% Korean, 20% English, but they kind of get together and go to Gwangju. So they go to Gwangju, but the military stops them right there. They cannot enter. They have to turn back. And then Peter kind of forces him that I have to go here. So they take some detours through the mountains. So they eventually reach there. When they reach there, they come across a university group of students who have been attacked by the military people. They go to hospital, and And right there, there is some argument that happens between Peter and Kim. Kim wants the money because he feels that it's not safe to go to Gwangju. He's looked around, there's no one in that city. It looks deserted. He wants to make sure he gets at least half his payment. So that's what the deal is decided. For the rest of the half, he gets the agreement is when he comes back to Seoul with Peter before 7 p.m. on that day, he's going to get the balance money. So as the movie unfolds, you can see that Peter starts to record a lot of things that are happening. Army is actually killing university people who are protesting peacefully. They have a right to do that, apparently, according to them. But army just does not spare anyone. And the intelligence service, the military general, they eventually find out that Peter, a foreign journalist, is there. He's covering these incidents. So they kind of go after him. And Peter and Kim escape once. But on the second instance, when they have all the footage with them, somehow they do escape. They reach a friend's house, and then they're spending some time over there. Meanwhile, a TV broadcasting station that's set on fire. So these people again go and they check out what's happening. They escape that place. They take a lot of recordings, capture it. But all this takes a lot of trauma on Kim, because he sees that one of the persons that he went with, and this is a guy who can speak English, so he helps Peter understand Korean and does the translation. So he gets killed, and Kim just can't take it. He feels the burden with the fact that his wife has died. He went to drinking, and that affected his relationship with his daughter. But then he gave up drinking. So he makes up his mind in the morning. His car is gone for servicing. He leaves Gwangju, and then Peter is left alone in the house. Who knows that this guy has left? So when Kim reaches a certain place, he's trying to buy some gifts because he's far away from Gwangju. He buys certain gifts, and he starts hearing from the locals in that area that the city of Gwangju is claiming that some communist and rebellion external forces have come, and they are trying to create all this ruckus. But the reality is that it's the military that is creating the ruckus. There is a coup, there is an assassination. And guys, this is 1980s. There's no social media, there's no internet, phone lines were off. So it really is very challenging to see, how you could actually get to so much information. But that was the time. Today, it's totally different. This is what was coming into my mind when I was thinking, how did these guys how could that happen today? When you just can't control. Citizens are going to report everything on Twitter, Facebook. So anyways, coming back to Kim starts feeling guilty. He left Peter behind in Gwangju, and he feels that he has an obligation, a duty to go back and get Peter. So he goes back, he meets him in hospital. There are more people that have died. Peter takes more footage, and then they eventually try to leave the city of Gwangju. But as they try to leave, the security officials, the intelligence authorities, they know that these two people have a taxi cab number plate, and then they have to somehow stop these people from taking the footage outside. So when they start doing that, eventually Kim escapes, but his friends die because they try to protect him, and they tell him, go expose what's happening in the southern part of Korea. So eventually, Peter, he's smart. He knows that, he has a flight for 10 p.m. on a certain day, but he goes one day earlier, and he is able to go back home in Germany. The whole world gets to know the brutal atrocities that are happening. And this is a real story. I should have mentioned this in the beginning. So, that really caught my attention about this. So eventually he goes back. Before he goes back, he gets the number and full name of the taxi driver, so that he can come back and give all the money for the taxi's damage. But that doesn't really happen. When Peter comes back, you can see that he tries to come back to Korea several times. 23 years later, when he comes to give a presentation to the people of Korea, he expresses his gratitude to Kim Sabuk. That's the name that Kim, the driver, gives to him. But they can't. But his friends cannot find this taxi driver in that area. So his search just goes in vain. Peter, in reality, he passes away. He's dead. And because of all this, they don't show this in in the movie. But the son of Kim, actually, I'm not sure why do they say the son, but he had a daughter. But eventually, they get to know who this person is. I mean, the whole world is getting to know who that person is. I'm just talking about something aside the movie. But guys, eventually, I think this was a beautiful, great story. You have to watch it for a brilliant direction by Hun Jang, and this acting, it wouldn't have been possible without Kang-ho Song's brilliant acting. Thomas Kretschmann, Hai Jin Yu is another actor, and all the supporting cast. I think the movie flows well. There is engagement. It's a long movie, but you will stick to the details are brilliant. I mean, 1980s, you feel you're in 1980s. To 2010, you feel that you are in that era. And I think it just will, there's a lot of emotions involved. There's a lot of character that you will see in all these actors, that they brilliantly have portrayed the role. So my recommendation to you is that go watch this film. You will learn something about the Korean culture, about what this scoop happened, about also that there is a lot of talent in that part of the world. So, guys, this is Sidharth Kumar signing off. It is review time. And if you have any comments, write it down. You want to subscribe to the channel. I try to get every movie review on a weekly basis. So, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.